Common fisheries policy, the British public understand it's about conserving fish stocks. Nothing could be more wrong than that. The common fisheries policy is equal access to a common resource.
The CFP is basically supposedly equal access to everybody else's commodities with your partners within Europe. 70% of all the European quota is caught in our waters, of which only 14% is caught by UK fishermen.
Oh, the CFP is a complete and utter disaster. I think you'd struggle to find anybody that would say the CFP has been good. Maybe good for certain individuals, but in the main, it's been pretty dramatic. It's caused a dramatic reduction in the fleet, and it has hurt areas, fishing areas and coastal communities all around the UK.
Major changes. If you look at my home port of Lew, just behind us here, it's gone from 35 trawlers when I started fishing in Lew to now I think there's 6 or 7.
Since we joined the CFP, the fleet is diminished around the UK 64%.
I mean, the changes, if I can think back to when I was a young boy, my dream was always to be a fisherman and become a fishing skipper. That was from I was 4 or 5 years old. That was the focus. My whole life has been about fishing, and I've seen this port of Peterhead turning from a huge bustling port. It was just a hive of activity to pretty much, let's look at it now, quiet, and we're still fighting for our cause and we still produce good fish, but it's a shadow of its former self.
And if you go all the way down Cornwall and see where there aren't any boats anymore and there's no up and coming young people coming into this business, it doesn't only affect the fishermen, it affects porters, it affects processors, it affects us having staff in our shop, retail, delivery, you know, poly boxes, you name it, whatever, anything that we use in this industry is going to affect.
I arrived in Peterhead from Scarborough in the northeast of England in 1985, and when I arrived here there was in the region of 600 vessels fishing out of Peterhead. Between Aberdeen, Peterhead and Fraserburgh we're in the region of 230 processors. If we fast forward to today, we are looking at roughly around about 70 dedicated whitefish vessels for Scotland and 60 processors in the whole of Scotland.
Common fisheries policy has been a noose round our neck for years.
The rule of thumb used to be for every one man fishing at sea, there was 6 jobs on shore. I mean, you had the region of, say, upwards of 20,000 people going to sea, you know, so you fast forward to today, I think, I don't know, there's maybe 1,500 fishermen, and the jobs on shores will become a micro industry for no fault of our own. But at least with Brexit, we will have a say in our own destiny. As it stands just now, with us having 70% of the quota, we have no say. We have to rely on an unelected EU representative to fight our corner for us. And we don't believe they're doing a good enough job for us.
They're on a career move. That's all they're concerned about. They're not concerned about the communities that we work and live in. And we're left to pick up the pieces. And there comes a point that you've had enough nonsense, and this is the point. We have a referendum, we have an option to tell the rest of the European Council of Ministers and all the rest of them, we've had enough, we're stepping back, we're still going to remain your best pals, but we will do our own thing.
The fishing community around the whole of Scotland and even the whole of the UK are all wanting out.
So all of our rules, we understand what it's like to be fully controlled by Europe. All of my daily life is controlled by European law, and there's so many and they're so ridiculous, it's unbelievable.
I'm going to vote for Leave because it's The EU, the policies have decimated our fishing industry, without a doubt, destroyed it. 20 years ago we had 37 trawlers here, we have 7 trawlers here now.
In fact, I believe we will become a stronger nation because we've got the products and the skills and the mentality to survive. We're the 5th biggest economy in the world, you know, so why wouldn't we survive?
I see Iceland thriving, I see Norway thriving on fish that they have their own quotas, they can sit at the table and get their own quota, so they get a decent slice of the quota pie, where we don't have a seat at the table. We're part of a massive organisation, but we're one of the small players in that organisation, which is the EU.
Norway gets a fantastic deal because they have a seat at a table where the decisions are made. The UK has a 12th, approximately, because roughly there's 12 nations that's interested in fishing, and they have all to whisper in the ear of one EU commissioner at the table when all the quotas and things are being discussed. We have no say, or very little say, in negotiations.
The problem with Europe, for me, I've been to Europe several times and presented work to Europe and tried to give them good advice. And the problem with Europe is the project of what they want to achieve is more important than the outcomes it delivers.
I heard of a poll out yesterday, there's 92% of fishermen want to leave the EU.
There's a huge consensus to leave. I haven't met a fisherman yet who's wanting to stay in.
We will unleash the innovative, creative ability that we have as a nation, our natural innovative and creative ability. It'll be unleashed by just political freedom. And when you do that to any country in the world, you unleash that country's potential.